Hey guys, it's Off by One here, and today we're going to be solving maximum subarray. In this problem, we're given an integer array nums, and they want us to find the subarray that has the largest sum, and then just return its sum. So we're not actually returning the actual subarray. So as you can see here, we have this input array, and the maximum subarray would be this here, and they only want us to return 6. So the brute force solution to this would just be to iterate through the whole array, and then try every single combination by adding -2 plus 1, -2 plus 1 plus -3, and we do all that for every single entry, and then we go to the next one and try that. But if you solved at least one of these problems, you know that the brute force method is never the way to go. So a better approach to this problem would be to see if we can notice some patterns to see if we can solve it in linear time. So for example, we know we never want to start a subarray with a negative number because that just doesn't make sense. There's no reason to start it with a negative number when you can just start with the number after that if it's positive. So for example here, -2 and 1 is just never going to be the max subarray, but the 1 by itself might be because it's a positive number at least. So let's just go through the actual subarray here and see if we can notice a pattern. So let's just go through it. -2 plus 1, that is -1. So let's just rewrite it like this, just to see if you can notice something. -1 plus -3 is going to be -4. And then we see we're basically left with this array here, where you start with a negative. And like I said before, we never want to start with a negative. So if our current sum is negative, then we just want to reset it if the next number is positive. And that's actually the only check we need. So if current sum is less than 0, then we just want to set our current sum equal to the current number we're at in the array. Otherwise, we just keep adding to our current sum like this. And then at the end of this, we just want to check if our global max is less than our current sum. And if it is less, then we just want to update global to our current sum. And that's basically it. Now let's get into the code. So to start, we just want to initialize two variables. One to keep track of the global sum, global max sum, and one to just keep track of our current sum. So first we're going to set our global max sum to -infinity, and then we're going to set our current sum to -infinity. And then from here, all we have to do is iterate through every num in the array. And if our current sum is less than 0, like we said, we're just going to set it equal to the current number we're at. Otherwise, we're just going to add our current number to the current sum, and at the end of this, we just do a check. So if global max sum is less than our current sum, then we just want to update it. And that's basically it. At the end, we can just return our global sum. And now we can run the code. So as you can see, the code does work and it's pretty efficient. So now let's go through the code manually. So I don't think I mentioned this before, but the time to run this is O of n and the space is O of 1 because we're only using these two variables, so there's no extra space needed. So to start with the code, we're going to set our global max sum and our current sum equal to -infinity. So I'm just going to call them G and C just for shortness. And now we're going to iterate through the array. So we're going to start with 1. So for num in nums, we're going to check if our current sum is less than 0, and it is because it's -infinity, and we're just going to set that to 1. And now we just check if our global max is less than our current sum, which it is because it's -infinity, and then that just gets updated to 1. And now we go to the next element. So for -2, if current sum is less than 0, it's not because it's 1, then we go to the else statement. So now what we do is add num to our current sum. So we would do 1 plus -2, and that would be equal to -1. And now we check if our global max sum is less than our current sum, which it's actually greater, so we don't update it. So now we go to the next number, which is 3. So if our current sum is less than 0, which it is, we want to reset our current sum to just equal num, which is 3. And now we check if our global max is less than our current sum, and it is. So our global max is now going to be 3. And then now we go to the last number. So if current sum is less than 0, it's not. Otherwise, we go to this else statement and we just add -1 to our current sum, which would make this negative, or not -2, it would just make it 2. And then we check if our global max is less than our current sum, and it's not. So we're just going to update, or we're just going to return global sum, which is 3. And that's it. If this video helped you in any way, please leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.